Hey, cheer moms, dads, and athletes. If you're looking for a cool and unique gift to give your favorite cheer mom this holiday season, why not get her the gift of a membership to the Cheer Mom podcast so she can listen to episodes of the Cheer Mom podcast ad-free, get exclusive discounts for merchandise, behind-the-scenes opportunities, and a private community, and so much more. All for just $8 a month. Just think about it. You're saving her time, you're giving her bonus content of her favorite podcast, and really there's no wrapping required. I mean, you can write it down on a piece of paper if you want and put it in a box inside of a box. I mean, that would be a lot of fun. But you don't even have to wrap it. You can just put it in an envelope and be like, look, I got you a year's worth of memberships to the Cheer Mom Cool Moms Club from the Cheer Mom podcast. And you'll be supporting this podcast and all the work that goes into making it. Visit thecheermomblog.com or just tap into the description of this episode for all of the details.
Uniforms and all of the above. It's the Cheer Mom. Yes, the Cheer Mom podcast. Cheer Mom. Yes, the Cheer Mom podcast. Cheer Moms, your podcast is on.
If you out there are anything like me, I dread social situations. It's fine once I get there, but any kind of appointment, any kind of meeting, anything, any plans that I've made, for the most part, I dread it. I don't know if it's anxiety or ADHD related. It's fine when I get there. Not always, especially if it's a cheer competition. But I've learned to kind of gamify it. And so I was thinking about you guys and all of the cheer events coming up and ways that we can make it fun. Of course, I mean, what isn't fun about getting up early and waiting in line for Starbucks and spending $1 million on Starbucks, all to have your preteen daughter yell at you and basically treat you like the scum of the earth? I mean, what's not fun about that? And then listening to the Cupid Shuffle. Wow. I mean, that is how every mom wants to spend her Saturday, right? And Sunday, and time away from home and her other kids and her husband or her family. Anyway, now that I've gotten all of us down in the mud, I think I'd make it a little fun for us. So if you haven't seen my cheer competition bingo, I'm going to have a new edition coming out. I'll link it below. And it's you play bingo. You bring your bingo card and you mark off when you see a dad and son throwing a football inside a ballroom at a cheer competition. You see a cheerleader crying. There are at least 2 bathroom stalls that don't have any toilet paper, or at least 1 toilet that is clogged, or at least 15 cheerleaders doing their makeup in the bathroom. We could do prop bets, friendly prop bets among cheer moms. I'm sure that gambling is illegal, so we can just bet on Diet Cokes or whatever, or bragging rights. Or next week's carpool. You guys choose your bets, but prop bets, how many times are we going to hear It's All About the Climb, or how many times we're going to walk through the halls and hear Party in the USA, or any number of Miley Cyrus songs. Makes it a little fun. It's sort of like when you were a kid and you went on road trips, or if you do this with your kids now, you go on a road trip and you have to spot all the letters of the alphabet on a license plate. It's kind of like that, but make it cheer. So I'll come up with some things and I'll put a new bingo card out there. I'll put last year's bingo card out there too, but a lot of you have played it. So I'll mix it up. I like it. Let's do it. I'm not even gonna keep trying to be funny right now because today's guest is hilarious. I knew she was funny when I asked her to be on the podcast, but she had me in tears laughing during this episode. I could not get enough. Brittany Ross is a comedian and actress, and she has fully leaned in to the cheerleader stereotype, and not just the cheerleader stereotype, but the all-star and college cheerleader stereotype, the kind that we know. And she has all kinds of jokes online. I'll play one of her jokes from her reels.
competitive cheerleaders, we are not like NFL cheerleaders. Those are dancers and they cheer for other people. Competitive cheerleaders, we're athletes, we cheer for ourselves. And college is like the end of the road for us. Like it's like our Olympics.
Yeah, so she like gets it, and she had me cracking up. She talks about her own cheer journey and how it led to a life of comedy. As you can imagine, cheer has given her a lot of material. Such a fun conversation. I will warn that although it's not necessarily an after dark episode, there may be some things that we talk about that are a little edgier, a little on the more mature side. So just take care when listening with little ears around. Here is Brittany Ross. Check her out. See if she is touring in your area. Let's support her and swarm her with all kinds of Cheer Mom fans. Thank you so much, Brittany, for spending time with me, and I hope to see you on the road soon. Can we all agree that we don't just wear jewelry, we tell a story with it? And that's exactly what you're going to find at TCC Jewelry. Whether it's celebrating your team, your athlete, honoring a milestone, showing your spirit, or just adding a little sparkle to your everyday look, every piece is designed to mean something special. From simple yet elegant Cheer Mom bracelets, rings, necklaces, little nods to cheer with sayings like hit 0 and 2 minutes and 30 seconds, to now an all new customizable charm necklace that you can add your team colors to. TCC Jewelry makes it easy to wear what matters most to you. It's not just jewelry. It's a reminder of what you're proud of, what you've accomplished, and what you love. So whether you're gifting someone you adore or treating yourself, because you deserve it, check out TCC Jewelry and find the piece that tells your story. Shop now at tccjewelry.com and enter code CheerMomPod for a special discount at checkout. tccjewelry.com, enter coupon code CheerMomPod at checkout for a discount. This episode of the Cheer Mom podcast is brought to you by Apollo Performance Socks. These aren't just any socks. They're a game changer for everyone in the cheer industry. Athletes, coaches, moms, I'm talking everyone. Listen to the rest of the episode to learn more and to find out how you can get 10% off your order of Apollo socks. This podcast is supported by Laundry Sauce. Say goodbye to mediocre laundry. Seriously, Laundry Sauce has completely changed the way I do laundry. They even have a quick scent quiz that you can take so you can find like the perfect scent for you, because they're all about a luxury laundry experience. And here's what I love about them. With Laundry Sauce, it's not just about a chore. They want it to be a moment of joy, a little bit of rebellion, and a dash of sass, and honestly, a whole lot of confidence wrapped up in just a little single pod. And I'll admit, I was skeptical at first, but these pods really do elevate your laundry game. My clothes come out cleaner, they smell incredible, and they've tackled stains I've thought wouldn't come out. Things like mud, lipstick, blood, even buffalo sauce from our restaurants. My personal favorite scent is Egyptian rose, but I've got my eye on the Italian bergamot next. I literally gave my commercial brand detergent away because I love this new detergent so much. I don't want to use anything else. So if you're ready to upgrade your laundry routine, head to laundrysauce.com/CheerMomBlog and use the code CheerMomBlog at checkout for 15% off your first order. That's laundrysauce.com/CheerMomBlog and use the code CheerMomBlog at checkout for 15% off of your first order. Brittany, I've been looking forward to this conversation ever since you said it sounded exciting to be on a cheer podcast. So welcome, welcome. I'm like giddy because, you know, not to set the expectation too high, but I think you just even like talking about your life in cheer in general is just, it gets me in the feels. It makes me laugh. Like you just get it. There's very few people in the world who like get it the way that you do. And so I'm excited to hear more from you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so let's like start from the beginning. You started in cheer when and how? Like tell
I
us about your
started, well, I
cheer
was a
career.
gymnast first. I was
Okay.
in gymnastics and I was in Texas and I went to Dominique Mucciano's parents' gym that they owned. So Dominique
Okay.
Mucciano would like, I don't know,
Yes.
but I feel like if people are
We are
old
old.
enough to remember,
I
like, are
recently
these,
said on a podcast, I was like, when you were little, you watched like Shannon Miller compete. And I was
yeah,
like, oh my
it was
gosh,
that
like
time. Yeah.
nobody knows
No,
who
I
I'm
stood
talking
in line at the
about.
mall to meet Shannon Miller at the mall and I have an
I
autograph
totally
with
would have
Shannon
gone to
Miller.
that. That is so
Yeah,
cool.
I have a picture with her and my gymnastics coach went. We all went. So I know who you're talking about. But Dominic Mucciano had this gym and I was like on the team there and she would practice in the back. Like she had her own gym in the back. And my sister was on my team. She's a year younger than me and she always copied everything I did and then just got better at it than me. So we were always like on the best teams, but she was the best one on the best team. So I joke that I grew up living in the shadow of my little sister my whole life. But she, like if there were cheer celebrities, like when we were in college, she was one. Like she would have been very like Instagram cheer famous. But so we were on this team and I loved gymnastics, but I also loved talking and we weren't allowed to talk at practice. It was like a big rule that our coach made. And he also said we weren't allowed to be friends with each other outside of practice because
Oh.
I was probably by this time I was in like, I think I was in fifth grade or sixth. No, I was in sixth grade. And he said we weren't allowed to be friends with each other. And I was doing so much gymnastics that I was leaving school early. I got out of PE. I did the whole thing. You know, I had like
It's
6 days a week.
source of community. Even now, that's like that's their
Yeah.
friend group, is their cheer team.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm in this for the gymnastics, but I'm also in this to talk and hang out because like I like to talk. And so I remember we had cheerleaders at our middle school and in seventh grade. And I remember telling my mom, I was so nervous to tell her that I wanted to quit gymnastics because I was getting in trouble for talking a lot. And, I remember like sitting down with her one night in my kitchen and we had like these rolly chairs in the kitchen that rolled around. And I was like so nervous that I was like rolling around in the chairs. And I was like, I think I want to quit gymnastics and become a cheerleader. And she was like, okay, great. I mean, I feel like now looking at it, any parent that's like, your kid wants to do less of something, like gymnastics was so intense that she was all for it. And so I went and joined a cheerleading team, like a all-star team. It was called Champion Superstars. And I didn't know how to stunt. I didn't know how to do anything. I didn't know how to do motions. I knew how to tumble really well, but I didn't know how to, like a lot of gymnasts who go. And I loved it. And then, of course, my sister quit gymnastics and came and joined my cheerleading team as well. And we were on that team. And then I didn't make my seventh grade cheerleading team at school. And only 6 girls made the team because oh no, I actually tried out for the team before I'd even gone and joined an all-star team. I quit gymnastics and tried out for the cheerleading team like right then. And I didn't know how to cheer at all. I could tumble better than everyone, but I didn't know how to cheer at all. So I don't think I was loud enough. I think I didn't make it because I wasn't loud enough. But like nobody else could tumble. It was just school cheerleading, so they cared about different things. And then I was like, I have to get really good at this. So I joined this team, started practicing like crazy, got really good at cheerleading too, and like made the team the next year at my school but just stayed on this all-star team and then I moved around and was always on an all-star team. And like wherever we went, we were on a team. And then I went to college in Hawaii on a cheerleading scholarship and I went to University of Houston I went there for a semester because I was on this team called Texas Lone Star, and all of my coaches from Texas Lone Star were on University of Houston. And nobody actually went to college there, though. They all just
everybody was enrolled in a band class, and they let us be in this band class, and we all got 100 in it. Nobody ever went to the band class. And so everybody else on the team wasn't even going to school there, except for me and my roommate. We actually went to school there. And my sister was a senior in high school, and because she does everything I do, they also put her in the band class. And so now my senior in high school sister was on my college cheerleading team in Houston. And it was fun, but like I wanted to go to school with people that I was cheering with. And like we never saw them because they didn't live on campus. Everybody lived like far away. I was dating a guy who was on a team in Hawaii, and the team in Hawaii, and they had been trying to get me to come to that school from the beginning, but I just thought it was too far, and I was like, I can't do that. That's crazy. And then I went to visit for Thanksgiving, and the coach was like, if you go home and pack your bags, I'll give you a full scholarship to come back here. So then, and I had so much fun when I was in Hawaii. I was like, this is so fun. And so I went home and like packed up and moved to Hawaii. And then a semester later, when my sister started college, she also moved to Hawaii. So she was always on my team. So we always did it together. And so she came to Hawaii too. And then quite a few people from Houston actually came to Hawaii. So that was kind of fun. And then I was on that team for 3 years. And then I graduated school a bit early. So I got a mental block. I like couldn't, like I had this on and off again mental block my whole like cheerleading career, which
You're totally
really,
speaking all of our language. We completely, I know all the moms listening in their cars right now are like, oh, okay, yeah, I feel you, girl, I feel you.
it like ruined my life, yeah, my younger life. I think I got it in middle school the first time, and I had broken both of my wrists in 7th grade. I broke both of the like growth plates in my wrist. So I have like teeny tiny, like I'm a small person, but like my wrists stopped growing. So they're just like weirdly small. And I had surgery, and like, I don't know, I think I bailed once or twice doing a skill, and I started to just freak out about flipping backwards, where I would like stop myself every time. And at this point I was better at tumbling than my sister was, but then she just never had any fear of any kind, and she just like flew past me. And I would be at the gym like killing myself, like trying to get myself to flip backwards. I just like wouldn't leave the gym. I cried so much. I like was there all the time being like, I have to be able to do this. I have to be able to do this. And I could do it if somebody was standing there, but if they weren't standing there, I wouldn't do it. I had all these like weird things. Like I had to like look backwards 5 times before I did a tumbling pass. Like I got all these weird tics. And I think there was like, now looking at it as an adult, there was a lot going on in my personal life that probably was causing, I've like learned a lot more about mental blocks. Then I don't think that we knew anything about that really back
Right.
then. And my coaches would yell at me and say I was doing it for attention. And I was like, oh my God, this is not the kind of attention. I want attention for being like the best one on the team, not the one that's like causing us issues because we're not sure if I'm going to throw my standing back during the routine or not, because I might freak out, you know? So, and I would do it in the routine, like in competition, I would just do it somehow, but I would freak out about it before. And so I never was like at ease with tumbling. Like tumbling became like very stressful for me. And I feel like I could, you know, before that I could flip anywhere. I'd flip in like 7-Eleven or like in a parking lot, and my mom would have to tell us to stop flipping places. And I think about that even now, and it like freaks me out that I used to do that. I think I just got really worried that I was going to die, or like I was going to bail, or I couldn't trust my body to like flip backwards. And I went to a hypnotherapist even too, and I think that
Wow.
helped me. I started doing like visualization stuff at night, and that helps. I think I needed like real therapy probably, but I went to like, I needed to be like, oh, there's a lot of shit happening in your life. But I got over it, and I would get over it for like a year at a time, and then it would come back. And then I'd get over it and it'd come back. And so it was this constant, like, weird thing I had. And when I went to Hawaii, I didn't have it, and I could, like, do everything. And then it's towards the end of my time there, I started to get it again. And even like the last time I competed, I had to we cheated that I did a backflip, and there, because everybody, has to do a backflip at a certain point altogether. So we hid me and cheated it because I wouldn't do it. But I would do it with a stunt partner. I'd do it it was weird. I trusted other people more than myself. So if I was flipping and somebody else was responsible for catching me, I felt okay. But if it was just me and the mat, I was like, I can't. So that, and I think I was a little bit, I cannot fight this anymore. I'm so tired of this mental block. I don't want to do this anymore. And it was just so much pressure because I was always on the best team. Then to all of a sudden not be able to do the things that you have to do to be on the best team. It's I was always it was always a threat that I was going to get kicked off. And now it was I was going to lose my scholarship now. And so I was really I can't, I kind of had no interest in trying to get over it anymore at that point. I was I need to get out of here. I need to move on with my life and do something else. So I lost my scholarship my last year. I did lose my scholarship. Because I couldn't, there's no way I was allowed to be on the team. I couldn't flip anymore. And so the last semester I was there, I had started acting already I acted when I was a little kid. I was an actress when I was a kid, but just commercials and bullshit, just little dumb things, And then I was in Hawaii and I was having all this mental block stuff. And it was so much being on that team because we had to practice at 6 a.m. all the time. And it was it was a job now at this point because it was paying for school. So there was this whole other added layer of pressure on us. And then we also had to the school would pimp us out, and we would go and do these performances for corporate people, places, a lot of Japanese
and didn't pay you.
No, they didn't pay us, but I feel they paid the school. But we're just doing but at that point you're whatever, this is fun. And but it also
kind
started
of what decade is this that you're doing kind of all-star in high school? And
I graduated college in 2008.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. So it's kind of those early years of super competitive cheerleading in on the large stage, and a lot of tough coaching, a lot of, like you said, no education around mental illness, let alone mental blocks. And there's a lot going on. A lot has happened since then, but we're just now getting education on the psychology behind mental blocks. And you're absolutely right. They're outside stressors that have nothing to do with cheerleading have an impact on tumbling and things like that. So yeah, we're with you. That's all so relatable. This episode of the Cheer Mom podcast is brought to you by Apollo. I've never met a cheer mom who doesn't want to keep their athlete healthy and injury free. We all do. But did you know that common cheerleading injuries like plantar fasciitis and ankle sprains can often be prevented just with having the proper support? That's where Apollo Performance socks come in. I wear them at night. I wear them when I travel, even just lounging around the house. And I know that they are changing the game for cheer athletes at practice and on the competition mat too. Apollo socks can even be a wonderful substitution for bulky leg braces, ankle braces, and even KT tape. And many athletes don't even need to use their heel cups anymore either. The difference in comfort and recovery is incredible. Apollo socks are designed to provide targeted support, reduce inflammation, and help your cheer athletes stay on the mat doing what they love. Visit apolloperformance.com and use code CHEERMOM2024 for 10% off. That's APOLLA performance.com and enter CHEERMOM2024 for 10% off.
Yeah. And then I also feel like it was eating disorders were rampant in my time of cheerleading. Like I got a really bad eating disorder in college too. And I think that also like affected my like ability to like my mental block with flipping and stuff. And I was kind of praised for being good at having an eating disorder. I was like the star of my team because I like looked a certain way. And I was always like small and whatever. I remember when I got this scholarship, my coach called my mom. I remember where we were when he called and he's like, Brittany has this full scholarship to come, but like if she gains any weight, just know she'll lose her scholarship. And my mom and I burst out laughing because we're like, what? Like if I gain any weight, like I'm a tiny person. Like, what is he talking about? Like I was so not in, like I never thought about my weight at that point. Like it had never been a thing for me. I was always just like, there was no, you know, and then I remember I like gained a few pounds when I got to Hawaii and I had gained like 5 pounds and we had a weigh in. And my coaches like rolled their eyes and like were so pissed that I weighed 105 pounds or like 103 pounds or something. So that's when I started taking diet pills because I was given diet pills. And so I got like that's when I got a really bad eating disorder. But I was like the face of the team all of a sudden because I was like tiny and I was my
and
coach's like favorite to put in the front and I had like long blonde hair and like it was like I was like the one you'd be like, you try on the uniforms, you model this, you do that. And all of my roommates, we all had an eating disorder. Like my sister had an eating disorder. Like all of us had it. And it was like, who's the best at it? It was almost, eating disorders are really competitive too, you know? So it's like, who's going to be the best at having an eating disorder? And so there was a bit of like that going on when we were in Hawaii. And I was kind of like, I can't do this anymore. Like I can't keep this eating disorder up. I can't fight this like mental block. So I was on this team that was winning and we were doing really well, but it was so tumultuous, like in my mind for me the whole time I was there. So I don't have like I have friends, I had fun, I had all this stuff, but I also remember it as being like one of the like darkest times of my life. So I do feel like cheerleading has given me like so much of who I am and like my personality, but I also feel like a lot of it is because I had to like overcome those things as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I moved here and I was like, I'm never going to cheer again because I was so like, I can't do this anymore. I was like, I have to get over my eating disorder if I'm coming to be an actress. I cannot start my life over as in another place like this. And so I remember I read something that was like, I don't know, maybe like 90% of people don't get over an eating disorder. And I'm so competitive that I was like, oh yeah, I'll be the one that does. And so I feel like I got over my eating disorder because I'm so competitive and driven that I was like, I will not.
You don't want to be a statistic.
No, I don't want to be a statistic. So I feel like my first year here was me like really just getting my mental health under control and like and I stopped exercising for a bit when I was trying to figure it out because I was also like we were required to also go to the gym on top of practices and they would check how many times we went to the gym and all this stuff. And I, at a certain point, got exempt from going to the gym because I was so little and I was like, I don't want to go to the gym. And it was like a weird thing. I was like, I'm going to gain muscle if I go to the gym and I don't want to be small. And like my coach let me only out of going to the gym for some reason. I don't know. So like I was like, I need to reassess my relationship with exercising and stuff. And I feel like I need to do it not in a detrimental way to my body. And so I feel like I did that. And then I had a therapist once be like, do you miss anything about exercising? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I lived in a gym. My whole life has been like moving my body. And so I started like jogging, but like very much like more just like keeping an eye on it. You know, I was like, I need to cap myself so I don't like overdo this ever. But I just felt so good to like run. And now I run every day. Like I go on a jog in the morning, but like it's more for like my sanity and like you know, I like have to move my body in a certain way or I feel like I'm gonna slap people in the grocery store because I get like so much like pent up stuff. So yeah, it's definitely. And then I played a cheerleader on TV like since I got here. I've been like cheerleader on like every show in LA, and I played a cheerleader on this show for like that was on for 9 years, and I was like, I'm never cheering again, and then I just got stuck playing a cheerleader forever. So, and now I have a podcast called Full Out, and it's kind of about cheerleading because it's my cheerleading story, but it's more about, I think everybody has this thing that not everybody, but there's a lot of people in entertainment who went like full out into some area of their life before what they do now. And I think it affects all of us. And we don't really hear those stories of people. You don't hear their like before, like, because I'm definitely intense because I was in cheerleading. I definitely have no chill because I was in cheerleading. Like I know how to be competitive because I was in cheerleading. Like acting and stand up and all this stuff, everybody's like, it's so hard. It's so competitive. I'm like, yeah. But like I used to be a cheerleader,
You haven't
so
been to
it's
NCAA
nothing.
Nationals in 2007.
It's totally fine. I'm fine. This feels like nothing to me. So yeah.
Okay. So this has given us such a jumping off point, and forgive me, but I've heard comedians say that you can't be a good comedian without some kind of trauma in your life. And so what you've told us is traumatic and stressful, and you have somehow found a way to, it seems like, heal from that, but also turn it into a career in comedy. So how did you figure out that did you always, well, I mean, this is a basic question. I'm sure you get asked all the time, but did you always know you were funny? I mean, you said you like to talk, but at what point did you start to say like, oh, I could make cheerleading into a joke?
I really didn't. I didn't start talking about cheerleading until like a little bit later. But I didn't think I was funny before. Like, I remember I used to like to joke around at practice. Like, I like to, be like silly and funny and stuff, but I think that I've had like a different life than you would think that I had from just looking at me, like I grew up like moving a ton. I lived in South America. I lived in Scotland. Like I have like a bit of a lot of divorce and crazy family members and like different things. And so there's just been like a lot more than just like a nice blonde cheerleader. So I think I started to realize the like dichotomy of who I am is funny because I'm not just, I was playing a lot of like this on TV and I was like, I'm so much more than that. So I think I started to realize just from like talking to people or like that I'm like, I think I have a different sense, like a different view on the world than people would think that I have. And that's what I started to like lean into more.
Well, that's what's interesting that I've noticed about cheer culture, whether it's all-star or college. It's very consuming, not just on your time and finances, but just of your whole mindset and who you are. And it's this all-in mentality. And I describe it as it's really like a sorority or fraternity. You're subscribing, you belong to these people or this organization, and it's why they have all the secret letters, and you earn your letters, or you it's why there's can be so much animosity if you leave a team for another team, because it's like, you belong to us, we're family. And it sort of it's almost like no one says it out loud, but it requires a part of your identity that if you're if you're not careful, it can become your identity. And I guess in a sense, some people are okay with that and it can be done. It's possible for it to be done in a healthy way, but I don't know if any one thing should take up a whole person's identity. So it's interesting that you bring that up. That it's like, well, yeah, like cheer has been a big part of who I am, but I have all this other stuff going on over here. And I think people in the cheer world who are just all in kind of close the curtains on that and say, like, I'm not going to pay attention to that part of who I am because I feel like I belong and accepted and whatever over here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I remember I went to this barbecue when I was like younger, and I guess I was a few years out of college, and my sister came with me, and there was this big cheer barbecue that everybody would come to like every summer, and it was like at our friend's house in Texas, in Houston, and like people cheerleaders would like come in for this barbecue. And my sister and I happened to be in town, and we both like, I was in LA already. I wasn't on a cheer team anymore. And she was living in Austin, and she was like doing other stuff. And we met this kid, and like everybody we knew was still in it somehow. And everybody knew my sister, Chelsea, because Chelsea was like the one who like invented new stunts because she was just like, she was like that person at the time. And first he was like, "You're Chelsea Ross's sister," which always happened to me. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm Chelsea Ross's sister.
I'm the original."
And then I was like, "She's here too." And he's like, "Oh my God." And then he's like, he's like, "But like, what do you guys do now? You don't cheer now?" And we're like, "No, we don't." And he was like, "But wait, what?" Like, he was just so dumbfounded that we had nothing to do with it anymore. And we both remember being like, that was insane. That it was just like so jarring for us to see somebody be so shocked that we weren't cheerleaders anymore. I was like, I think I'm 25 at this point, and she's like 24. And we're like, yeah, we don't do it anymore. Everyone else we knew at that point, like, I don't know what it's like now, but at that point, nobody had to. You could compete like as many times as you wanted at NCAA. Like the guys would wear big necklaces to NCAA nationals with all of their like rings.
They still do that.
Their necklaces. So it's like you've been in college you're supposed to be in college for 4 years, but why do you have like 17 million rings around your neck? You know, so how long have you been in college for? So it was a lot of, there was a lot of that.
I can't confirm this, but your story about being enrolled in the band class that you never had to go to, it seems like that still tracks in some way. I have no proof or firsthand knowledge, but it seems like they're sliding by with enrollment and still being able to compete.
Yeah.
But there is a limit. Somehow there's a limit. So I need to look into that a little bit more. But there are comments, on cheer Twitter about like, wow, how many colleges can you go to? How many junior college 2-year degrees can you get? Because you're still
I know. They don't talk about that at the end of the cheer documentary. They're not like, and everybody's trying out for junior college again. And that's supposed to be 2 years. I feel like they don't. My first stunt partner at University of Houston, I think he was 26. And I was 18, and he was 26.
I mean,
and he'd been like around.
About right. That sounds about right. Okay, so you mentioned the cheer documentary. What did you watch it when it came out? What did you think?
I did watch it. I watched the first season of it, and I write as well, and I had written like a half-hour dark comedy about college cheerleading, and I was like, I'm gonna watch it, but I was also like panicking a little bit that I was gonna be like, oh no, they did it first as a documentary before I did it. But then I was like, mine's so different. I feel like the cheer documentary was good because it made a lot of my friends be like, I totally understand you in a different way than I did before. I feel like it brought some like, respect to cheerleading. People like understood it differently. They're like, wow, this is intense. My husband's from Switzerland, and he was like, he doesn't understand cheerleading at all. He's like, I can't believe you did that. He's like, he doesn't understand like the uniforms and like the makeup. And like, I mean, they don't really wear makeup in Europe the same way we do in America, anyways. So then, like, the chair makeup and like the bows and like, it's just like so foreign to him. He thinks it's like insane. And he was like, I don't want to see anybody get hurt if we watch this, Brittany. And I was like, we won't. Don't worry. Nobody's they're not gonna show people getting hurt because he doesn't like to see people getting hurt. And I feel like the first 5 minutes of the documentary is just everyone getting a concussion. And, like,
bone crushing.
And he's like, what is this? He's like, there's a concussion guy on the team who just deals with everyone with concussion. I'm like, yeah, the trainer, I guess. He kind of does. But he was like, I can't.
You're fine. Like, get back on the mat.
Just like. It was so funny. So I do feel like it was nice to be like, look, this is what we did. Like, this is exactly what we did. But I also don't think they talked about like some of the like darker sides of it. And I know season 2, like some stuff went down and stuff, but I do feel like they don't talk about how everyone stays in forever. They don't talk about how it becomes so your identity and it's a little bit cultish almost. It's like hard to get out. It's like, what do I do after this? After I devoted my life to this thing that ends in college? And it's similar to like, you know, an Olympic athlete, but until then, like nobody knows what it is. So you're like kind of an Olympic athlete whose people don't know what your sport is and it's done. And you now have to go live and be a person in the real world.
And there's no real support. There's no...
Yeah.
And these girls, these college-age girls, they still struggle with eating disorders, whether they... Whether it's formal or not, they're like, oh, I just don't eat on game days. And I'm like,
yeah, and they don't talk about
let's
that.
Talk about that.
I think they talk about the weigh-in, like they have one tiny moment of them weighing themselves, but they're clearly getting weighed. Like there's all this stuff about like you do need to be smaller to stunt to be on like co-ed and like large co. It's just they don't really talk about that. They don't talk about like, I mean, one of my coaches is in jail for sleeping with underage girls. You know, like there's like a lot of like older guys with very young little girls because they're easy to throw around in the air. And like there's a lot of, it's similar to gymnastics. There's just like a lot of dark stuff wrapped up in like a nice shiny bow for everybody to be like, we're sparkly and fun, you know? So I think that some of the, you know, like all the guys some of the guys on my team were on steroids and having like roid rage meltdowns at practice. And like that was pretty common. And like, there's just, I don't know what it's like today, but I feel like there's still some of that stuff for sure that isn't talked about.
And you're probably right. I don't know either, but it seems to me that the talent and some of the leadership, it all just keeps getting recycled. And so you are a cheerleader until you're a coach, until you're a gym owner or a college coach, and you do the things that you learned from your coach, and then you raise athletes that do the same thing as you. And it's very interesting to watch now that I've been in kind of the cheer space for a while, to watch those cycles continue. There's more awareness. There are more people breaking into the space going like, this is not okay. This is not normal. This is not healthy, things like that. So I'm appreciative of that. But I think that you're on the radar there in terms of the things that we need to be talking more about. I want to go back to, it's your last year of college, your last semester of college, and you've decided, I cannot do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And it seems like cheer and and gymnastics and being athletic and being part of a team was always so much a part of you. How did you transition from that life, number one, and number two, how did you gain perspective for the fact you not everybody gains perspective, whether it's in cheerleading or you know, another all-consuming thing in their life. How did you did you always know you wanted to go to LA? Like, how did you transition out of the sport to start with?
I feel like the sport transitioned out of me because I got so scared and I kind of like, I think I was having like a separation with it anyways, in a way. I also felt really like in Hawaii, it was such a school where I went, it was such a school for like a semester abroad. People were coming just for a year and then leaving. So, like, my only people there were cheerleaders. And I started to feel like, I got to get out of this. I felt a little trapped. I was like, I need more than this. I need something else. And I I didn't think I was going to act anymore. I didn't really like I had acted when I was a kid and I kind of stopped because I got so into cheerleading. And um I was going to school for journalism. I thought I was going to be like a broadcast journalist, but I like was not going to school for journalism. I was going to school for cheerleading. I was like doing the bare minimum to get by for I was the only one in the journalism program who wasn't like a staff writer on the school paper because I was like, I have practice. I don't have time to be a staff writer. I'm like, I'm here to cheer.
We warn against that all the time. Go to college and cheer. Don't go to college for cheer. Because
yeah, I mean,
anything can
everybody
happen,
was
but
just
yeah.
going to college for cheer. And like,
Sure, yeah.
I remember I had to like write 2 articles for the paper and I wrote one on my coach and he told me, he's like, I don't have time to do this. So just make up whatever answers you want to put in the interview. And I was like, okay, great. And then I wrote one where I like sat on my deck and observed birds and wrote an article on it for the paper because I was like, I don't have time to do this. So,
Hey, you
but then
fly, birds fly. You have a lot in common.
exactly. And then when I started having that mental block, we were also like all drinking a ton. Like I was drinking, we were all just like partying so much which is insane because we'd wake up at like 6 a.m. and go to practice. And like, I feel like that was also crazy, but I was like, I just knew something was like not going right for me a bit. And I met this person at a bar at TGI Fridays, that's where we would all go, who was like, oh, I'm in this acting class. And I was like, oh, I used to act. And then I was like, maybe I want to go to that acting class. And then I started thinking about it. And then I went to the acting class and I'd only done like commercials and cutesy like acting when I was younger. And then I went to this acting class and it was like a real acting class. And he was like the acting coach on Baywatch. But we were doing like real plays and like I was really learning how to like about acting for the first time and I became obsessed with it. So I feel like my obsession for cheerleading got like put into something else and I just wanted to be at this acting studio all the time. And I was like trying to be there as much as I possibly could. And then I got obsessed with like, okay, I'm going to finish school early so I can go to LA. Because I was like, I didn't think I wanted to go to LA until like probably after I got this mental block. I was like, okay, I'm going to act and I'm going to go to LA. And I remember my parents were like, you can do it, but just finish school first. So I like crammed all my classes and finished. I stayed one summer by myself in Hawaii and just like did a ton of classes. And I like lived at that acting studio. So I feel like I replaced it with like I knew what I wanted to do. So I just like showed up, was there all the time. And I became like obsessive in the same way about that I probably used to be about cheerleading. And I was just like making plans for going to LA. I remember I used to stay after class all the time and just ask my teacher so many questions about LA and like what I should do. And I was just constantly like figuring it out. And so I think it was easier for me because I really knew what I wanted to do when I wanted to leave because I wanted to do something else. And I was like obsessed with it. And I started doing some jobs in Hawaii. Like I got my first real acting job in Hawaii. I was in this movie called Forgetting Sarah Marshall. And I like
Never heard of it. It's like a little indie film.
Yeah, I did a job, like I did like a day player, like had a few lines in that movie when I was there. And I was like, okay, I think I can do this. Like it seemed like this doesn't seem like a pretend like maybe thing. I was like, I can, like I'm getting jobs here. I think I can go to LA and like do this. And I was so worried that I was going to be too old when I got to LA because I went to college that I was like, I need to finish as soon as I can. And at the
The
time, I
ripe
looked
old
like
age of
10.
22.
Yeah. And I looked 10. And then I played like 15, 14 for like until my late 20s. I was playing like so young forever. And so that didn't really matter. But I also just think I knew that I needed to get out. And my sister, I feel like she said this on my podcast. She did my podcast too. So I feel like she'd be fine with me saying this. But when I left Hawaii, she left too. And she went to University of Texas and she was going to finish school there. And she had a really hard time because not having cheerleading in her life because she wasn't really sure what she wanted to do. And she like really struggled for a few years to like figure out like her place and what she was doing. And I think it was a lot harder for her she didn't have like the same thing as me where I was like, I know what I'm doing it. So yeah, I know it can be extremely tough
So
to get
then
out.
how did you have so much comedic gold material outside of cheerleading, but you came through my feed with the algorithm knew what it was doing, and you had some cheer jokes come across my reels. And what struck me was that you could sort of poke fun at us in the cheer world while still acknowledging, no, this is serious and none of you understand. Nobody else understands the cheer world. Nobody else understands that we're serious athletes and it's a sport. And was that just part of writing comedy, or was there a moment when you were like, I feel like I can look back on this time in my life and have perspective, and now I want to incorporate it into my jokes?
My stand-up is all about my life. And I do think that I know that there's something funny about how intense I am from cheerleading stuff that people don't get unless they were in cheerleading. I do think that know how I like started doing those jokes. I think like
just talking about your life, it sounds like.
Yeah, I have a 5-year-old who's like asks a lot of questions to me about things, and I'm like, all I know is cheerleading stuff. So I don't know if it's like that. My husband's not from this country, so like his reaction to cheerleading is also so funny to me. So I think I've just seen a lot of different. I know that it also like putting it on a resume means absolutely nothing to anybody once you get out of cheerleading, but you would never know that when you're in cheerleading.
So true. Like all of the life skills. Yeah, you learn life skills, but you're so right. You can't be like
on a
resume.
It's almost a little embarrassing at a certain point to be like, I'm a 3-time national champion cheerleader.
2019
and they're like,
world
okay.
champion. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, you're not getting this job then. It's a little bit like nobody takes it seriously. So I don't know. I think I don't really know how I came to tell those jokes, but I'm glad you saw
perfect.
them. I'm glad you found them. I don't know. I know that I wouldn't really want to put my daughter in cheerleading. Just like I wouldn't don't want her to act. Same thing. I feel like, I don't know. The only reason I would put my daughter in cheerleading is to freak my husband out because I think it would be hilarious.
Well, you get new material, that's for sure, but at what cost? So
I did have a dream. I had like a dream that was like a nightmare the other day where I was like watching my daughter on a cheerleading team from like the window box up above. Like at one of my gyms, there was like a window box for parents to look down into the gym, and that's where parents would always like yell at their kids and be like, "Oh, you're tumbling past." Like I remember, crazy stuff happens with parents where they come down and they're like, why is to the back of this? And it's just like, go back upstairs, like that kind of stuff. And I remember I was watching her from up in my dream. I'm like watching her from up there. And then I was like, oh, I can stunt. I should go down and stunt with those guys. Cause she was partner stunting. I was like, I should go down. And I remember walking down and like realizing I'm this psycho mom who's going downstairs to stunt with these guys now and being like, I'm the mom now. And that was my nightmare. I was just like, I'm the mom now. I'm the mom now. I'm not the one on the team anymore. I'm the mom now. So I was like, no, I can't put her in because I think I can't. I would just, it would be hard for me to like not do it and watch her do it.
I can understand that.
I'd rather her
It could go either
dance.
way. Yeah.
I don't want her to do
Yeah.
something that I don't know how to do. I'm just like, do something else.
It's probably better that way for all of us.
Have your
that they do
own
something
thing.
that we don't know how to do. Yes.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
love it. So I love the way that you tied in when the coach at your college coach in Hawaii said, if you gain weight, you lose your scholarship, and you and your mom
Mhm.
laughed. But the
Mhm.
punchline, what did you say on your
I think I said like my mom was like, "Oh my God, like I'm horrified. My daughter knows how to take her diet pills." Um because my mom did give me diet pills. She's the one who gave me diet pills.
it was a
And
different
it was really
time, folks.
common back
Young
then.
moms, it was a different time.
Yeah. It was a different
Now
time. Everybody just knows so much more now than we knew.
Yes. Yes. So I want to talk more about the podcast in just a minute, but are there any other projects coming up for you, things that you're working on that we can be watching out for?
I guess, well, I'm always like going to pop up on like some show or something. So if you're following me, you'll see that. But I feel like I'm also starting to like tour and go do stand up around as much as I can because I have a baby as well. So I'm not touring as much as but I am going places like once or twice a month. So I guess just look out if I'm coming to your city or something as well to perform.
Would love that. And you have your podcast called Full Out, and you explain it so well in the trailer that it's not a cheer podcast, but we have this term in cheerleading called Full Out, and everyone listening to the Cheer Mom podcast knows what that means. So we have a point of reference. But what do you talk about on the Full Out podcast?
We talk to guests. So I have a guest once a week and then I do a solo episode once a week. So when I have a guest, we talk to them about where they went full out in their life previously. And we do have some cheer, like my sister did an episode with us, which is fun. And then there is another stand-up out here. His name's Chappelle Lacey, and he cheered at Louisville, like around the same time. He's like maybe a year after me or 2 years after me, around the same time as I was at Hawaii. So that was really fun because we both do, like, we're both comics, and it's really funny to have like a rapport with a comic that is about something totally different. And we joke because he's somebody that everybody's like, "You were a cheerleader?" They can't believe it. And I'm like, "I was a cheerleader." And everybody's like, "Yep, that makes sense." So we have like an opposite, we have like an opposite vibe. But so we have him, and then I have like one of my friends was a stand-up since he was 15, and then he was on a Disney show. So he talks about like he was going out and doing stand-up every night at 15 and like how intense that was. And I have like somebody who's like a track star or people who just like went full out into something. And it's not just sports, but it's like some area of their life where they just like threw themselves in, like the way that we do in cheerleading, where it became like everything and how it like affects them now or doesn't affect them. And most everybody's in entertainment. They're like stand-ups, TV writers, like comedy writers. So there's like a little bit of humor in the podcast as well, because I feel like everybody has a bit of perspective on it. But the best thing about the podcast has been like one of my friends, he was a teen dad. So he talks about being like a teen dad because that was like full out for him. But there's most everybody has said something like, "I've never talked about this before," or like, I forgot, I haven't told anybody this. So that's happened on the podcast a lot because I do feel like when I started talking about cheerleading, I was like, oh, I never talk about cheerleading anymore. Like it's so long ago. And then I was like, oh yeah, I did do this and I did do that. And it kind of makes you understand who people are more when you realize the thing that they really like were invested in previously. So it's been really fun. And then I do like a solo episode where I talk about times in my life that I've gone full out, like just, my like more like my weird behavior now. Like I feel like when I had my kids, I was like so intent. Like I was like, childbirth is so easy. I don't know. I just like, it wasn't easy, but I like my water broke and I went to the gym and did the elliptical because I was like, I need to get like contractions going. And they're like, you can go on a walk. And I was like, that's not going to work for me. I'm going to go like, do you know what I used to do with my life? That's not going to work. So
I'm going to go power lift. Excuse me.
my husband thinks I'm like psycho. He says it's like living with a mini Tony Robbins all the time because I'm just like, so like we kind of
Tony
just
Robbins
talk about
psycho.
I mean, a little bit.
It's another podcast.
So yeah, I feel
That's
like
so
there's a lot of like how and I do think it relates a lot to like, because I would like, this was the world I grew up in and like how I was raised. So it's like, suck it up, keep going, like do it no matter what. Like our team motto was losing hurts worse. So it definitely is like a part of me. And so.
Yeah, they're still, and again, your teammates are now coaches. And that philosophy is not working for them. And they're like, what's going on? Like this philosophy wins championships. Why aren't you guys, it's an interesting time. And I'm not necessarily judging. Cause like I came from that too, not in cheerleading, but in a different way. Like, yeah, suck it up and you just got to keep going and you just got to be polite and say yes and blah, blah, blah. And that, it doesn't work anymore. You have to learn new things. You have to expand and you have to pivot and grow. And that's also another podcast episode. But thank you so much,
Yeah,
Brittany.
thank you
You
for
are
having
a
me.
delight. Your podcast.
Thank you. This is so
It's
fun.
in my queue. I
Thank
can't
you.
wait to listen. Sounds super entertaining.
Thank you.
I've done follow and subscribe in all of the
Thank you
all
so
of
much.
the outlets and Cheer Moms. You should too. It's not. You have time for another podcast, and this one is going to be totally different and entertaining. And Brittany is just hilarious in.
Thank you.
And you know what? And you're intentional. I can tell by the conversations that you have. It's not all just making fun and making light. You do really have a sense of having a meaningful conversation and let's talk about the real stuff. So go check out the Full Out podcast and
Thank you.
see if Brittany is coming to your city. Buy tickets. I will link her website in the show notes,
you.
the description of this episode. Hopefully you will get some big Cheer Mom fans, and you already have one here. So if people do want to find you, how can they do that?
You can find me on any social media. I am Brittany Ross. And yeah, I'm on all the things.
Amazing. Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Gosh, I just feel like we need to end it with like, let's all go full out, but not,
Yeah.
unless you don't want
I
to.
also just want to end it with like, as much as I said about cheerleading, I'm glad that I did it. So I feel like it was worth it, and I'm happy that I did it, even though it was really destructive. So maybe I can end it like that. Okay, bye.
What up, party people? This is Jason Larkins, host of the Let's Talk Cheer podcast, and I've teamed up with Kristen Wheeler of the Cheer Mom podcast and Dan Cotton of the Cheer Biz podcast.
That's right. Hey, everybody, Kristen here. We know that you love cheer, so why not dive into more perspectives? Tune into my podcast, the Cheer Mom podcast, for cheer issues spoken from the parent's perspective. Then head over to Dan's podcast, the Cheer Biz podcast, to learn from a gym owner on how to run a successful cheer business. And of course, don't miss the Let's Talk Cheer podcast featuring Jason Larkins, the one that we all know and love, where they talk about cheer from a coach's perspective.
Which means whether you're a coach, a cheer parent, or a gym owner, we've got you covered. Find all 3 podcasts on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and stay tuned for new episodes each week.